everyone, welcome and welcome back. My name is Chris.
And I'm Jose.
And we want to welcome you to I'm Married to Film Snob, where we review films of today and yesteryear. Today's video was made in collaboration with Inspicia Arts Magazine. In this video, we'll be reviewing the psychological dramatic thriller Tár, directed by Todd Field and starring Cate Blanchett. Be sure to stay until the end to see our ratings, and if you're watching this on YouTube, leave your comments down below.
Here we go, let's do it.
So, we finally got around to watching this movie. We'd been meaning to since last year, but something always got in the way. Like a couple months ago, we went to the theater screening it, and they had such horrible projection that his snob meter went through the roof, and we left during the opening credits. So streaming came to the rescue, and wow, it was totally worth the wait.
Oh yeah. Now, great movies tend to be direct reflections and commentaries on the contemporary issues that shape a society during the time the film is made. Todd Field's Tár is a superb example of a film that smartly questions and alludes to prescient societal issues of today, thanks to an incredible script and a masterful and commanding performance by Blanchett. Cancel culture and the abuse of power, either real or exaggerated, take center stage, as we witness the precipitous fall and demise of a power figure.
The movie subverts what we have come to expect from these kinds of figures in our contemporary society. And its titular character is not a white straight male. Instead, Lydia Tár is a complex and richly layered character, a lesbian woman at the peak of her success, whose motivations are never black or white. She operates in a gray moral space, making us question what her deeper intentions are. And that quandary is what keeps us engaged the entire time during this 2-hour and 38-minute running time, which you never feel at all. Set in the international world of Western classical music, the film centers on Lydia Tár, played by Cate Blanchett, widely considered one of the greatest living composer-conductors and the very first female director of a major German orchestra. At the apogee of her career, everything begins to crumble when she's accused of sexual abuse and abuse of power.
Visually, the film is really finely and carefully crafted. Just like the classical music Tár composes, the film is striving for perfection in the way the shots are composed. While the visuals never yell out for attention, Florian Hofmeister, the cinematographer, delivers a very controlled and almost surgical craftsmanship in the movement and placement of camera. The film never rushes. Shots are held with composure, allowing the actors time and space to really dig into their characters and dialogue. And cinematically, that's what I admired most. Shots are never boring or uninspired, but likewise, aside from a couple of dream sequences, are never stylistically over the top.
True. Now, let's dive into the main thematic issue of the movie, cancel culture and abuse of power, because there's a lot to unpack here.
Oh, yeah.
What makes this movie incredibly intelligent is the moral ambiguity in which scenes are presented and the character of Lydia Tár is depicted. It's worth exploring several scenes to illustrate this vagueness of moral character, because in this movie, nothing is superfluous. Every scene, every frame is intentional in building our understanding of Tár, so we can make our own decision.
Unlike other reviews we've done, this review will focus more on the content of the story and screenplay and how it unfolds, because it is very analytically done. And unraveling some of these conceits will help you appreciate the film. So spoiler warning ahead.
Number 1. When Tár finds out her daughter's being bullied and abused by a fellow classmate, she takes matters into her own hands to stop this abuse. In intimidating fashion, she confronts and threatens the little girl who's been doing the bullying. Her motherly instincts kick in, and she does whatever necessary, including threatening a small child to get the result she wants. It's a gray space of moral justice.
Now, a second factor is that Tár wants to remove Sebastian Brix from his assistant conductor position. Now, people assume it is because she wants to replace him with a younger female, presumably for sexual interest, but again, the way the movie plays it, it is left vague if that is truly the case.
I mean, I don't think it was for sexual interest. I think she just simply wanted him out. She didn't agree with his opinions anymore.
Yeah, in a way, it's like her wanting to get rid of the old furniture that comes with a house or something. Sebastian is portrayed very smartly as older, past his prime, and comfortable in his cushy job, who additionally was also a leftover from the past administration of the orchestra.
Number 3. Tár's day-to-day assistant, Francesca, is hoping to become Sebastian's replacement for his prestigious position. And while initially in the running, Tár lets her know that she's decided to go with someone else because she's looking for someone with more experience. Ouch.
Soon after getting notice she hasn't gotten the job, Francesca disappears and Tár's troubles really begin to mount. Again, we as the viewer are left to decipher, did Tár not give her the job genuinely because she was too young and inexperienced for the position, or because her eye and attention has been shifted to the younger and more attractive Olga, the new celloist? And likewise, did Francesca not getting the job cause her to vengefully expose all of Tár's possible transgressions? I think if Francesca had gotten the assistant conductor position, she would have let everything slide and just taken the job, and none of the emails would have leaked, and none of this other information would have happened.
See, that's where I disagree, because I still think that Francesca still has more of a moral justice in this case, in that she would have still continued stepping away. She didn't want Tár to continue doing what she's already done.
Yeah, but why did she wait to do all that until she got notice that she didn't get the job? If she could have leaked all that before, but she waited to know whether she was going to get the job or not before disappearing and leaking all this stuff. So I think if she would have gotten the job, she would have just kind of let it slide.
Number 4, Tár's cascade of problems really begin to mount when it is discovered that one of her ex-students, Krista Taylor, has committed suicide, possibly as a result of a series of incriminating emails from Tár that shunned Krista from getting new opportunities in the orchestra world. Yet again, the movie walks a thin tightrope in letting us decipher what is truth and what is abuse of power.
So that begs the question, was Tár being genuine in her warnings to her peers about working with a mentally unstable woman? Or did some secret, hidden sexual relationship from the past that went sour cause her to intentionally ostracize Krista and sabotage her career? The fact that Krista commits suicide does hint that maybe she really was mentally unstable in some way.
Right, possibly, yeah.
And possibly not an easy person to work with. But we don't know what came first, the chicken or the egg.
Yeah, it may show that Krista was a dangerous woman, or does this insinuate that she thinks people are just disposable and...
Yeah, but it also begs the question, can a professional give their professional opinion if it's negative?
Right.
If that was genuinely her opinion that this lady, no one should work with her because she's kind of crazy, there's nothing wrong with that if it's genuine. I think the movie begs the question.
Right, it plays with that.
If she was using that to cover some sort of past sexual relationship, then it's wrong.
Right.
But if she's being genuine, there's nothing wrong with giving, hey, this person is no good, don't work with them.
True, but it does such a great job of leaving that unclear, leaving that up to you as the audience to decide.
Yeah.
Yet the movie plays with the inclination that Tár's grooming of young and attractive female students might be a repeated pattern in her life. When doing a blind audition for a new cello position, Tár inadvertently catches a glimpse of one of the new recruits in the bathroom, Olga Met Kina, right before she goes on stage. Later, when the audition actually takes place, Tár is able to decipher who she is from her shoes and changes her vote to promote her to the position. This scene insinuates that in this case, Tár is not focusing on talent, but on a physical attraction to Olga that has swayed her decision. Look, her wife is the lead violinist, so it goes to show you, has she done this
in
before?
The past with her own wife?
Groomed?
Yeah. But then there comes a scene later on where she sees Olga performing on YouTube, and it kind of gives inclination she is genuinely moved and she does recognize a talent. So it's again that 50-50.
Or though, is it a matter of lust? Because in lust there is that element of admiration, where is it almost like a bias where because she's attracted to her,
she sees it as better.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's that too.
Now on the flip side of all those things that are kind of incriminating potentially, the only real clarity we get in the movie is how Tár's Juilliard class and conversation with the pangender student is completely taken out of context and edited in a way to show her being abusive and denigrating.
Right.
When in fact,
crazy.
That wasn't the case at all.
Yeah.
We see the real scene in real time, and then we see the edited clip, and it's kind of a totally different thing.
Completely off.
Now in that scene, Tár was only trying to get the student to understand that in any art form, you have to separate the art from the artist. And the student ignoring Bach because of any misogynistic personal beliefs is nearsighted, causing a damaging effect of missing out on a richer world of music, because Bach's music and art are much more important than anything he might have done in his personal life.
Very true. When you just focus on the art versus the artist's personal life, you learn to appreciate what they're trying to say through their art.
Well, the thing is, if you start digging into everyone's closet for skeletons, then we'd be left with almost nobody, because nobody's perfect. So you can't keep discarding people because of what they might have done,
or if they don't mirror your values. So in this case, the movie exposes the dangers of speaking your mind, especially in this technologically media obsessed world, and how easily it can be taken out of context to frame and harm you. This scene is pure gold and is masterfully executed with long and uncut takes.
So the movie constantly goes back and forth in these possible indictments and accusations and continually explores the gray areas of truth. It does it subtly, in little details sprinkled throughout the movie. There are 2 additional notable instances of little details that expand on Tár as a human that simultaneously make it hard for us to know whether she's a sexual predator or not.
In one scene, Tár is practicing in her studio and loses track of time, especially since she gets caught up in helping her neighbor deal with her elderly mother who has fallen. Olga arrives soon thereafterwards and catches Tár off guard, who only has time to put on a robe after cleaning herself. Now, only wearing a robe while a young student arrives can come off as a bit of a sexual innuendo, but it was a matter of circumstance, and Tár immediately goes to change into proper clothes. This scene shows how easily inadvertent actions can be taken out of context.
Now the second little detail is once her downfall is cemented, Tár escapes to the Philippines to restart her life.
Yeah.
While there and trying to figure things out, her back pain returns and she asks the hotel front desk clerk where she can get a massage. Now, without her knowledge, she gets recommended a brothel where she can pick a young girl out of a window to perform sexual favors. She didn't go looking or asking for that, but there it is, it lands on her lap. The scene is vague, but what we do see is her exiting the brothel and vomiting outside.
Yeah.
Possibly out of repulsion or maybe guilt.
I mean, it leaves it unclear whether she goes through with it or not. I think she doesn't. To me, I think she was like just disgusted with the whole situation. And an Easter egg here is the girl that looks up and makes eye contact with her in that window. She's wearing the number 5. So that could be alluded to the 5th Symphony of Mahler that she was supposed to conduct and ended up being replaced. Now there's much more in this densely layered film to cover in one video, but also noteworthy are 2 additional subjects. One is the exploration of the generational gap between someone of the age of Tár and the newer younger generation she teaches. One is more cutthroat, educated, and serious, while the other is more tech-focused, emotional, and frivolous.
And it delves into how these 2 worlds and mindsets can never operate on the same wavelength, causing frustrations and barriers in understanding each other. Now, the second subject that also is repeatedly alluded to are the dream and nightmare sequences that Tár has.
Oh, yeah.
Are these scenes her guilt manifested, or someone generally trying to rattle her cage to make it easier to cause her downfall? I mean, we kind of get the notion that Francesca has access to her home as being her assistant.
Right. So there's something about keys was mentioned.
Yeah, so is she planting this stuff in the middle of the night?
The movie, like the characters in it, asks us to explore one of the most fundamentally important questions of our time. Can we and should we separate the art from the artist? Should we focus on what important artistic figures have accomplished or how they led their personal life?
With this film, Todd Field has crafted one of the smartest movies of recent years, with its thumb directly on the divided pulse of today's audience. And he's also led Cate Blanchett to give one of the best, if not the best, performance of her illustrious career.
And now for ratings of the film. What would you give it?
Probably give the film a 9 out of 10. I think it was one of the strongest films of last year. And it covered a lot of things one of the things we didn't get into that I thought was also smartly done is showing the career downfall of a prominent person.
Right.
You know, Tár goes from conducting these great orchestra in a very high profile setting of the Berlin Orchestra and Philharmonic and all this stuff to then kind of conducting video game scores in the Philippines in front of cosplayers, you know, these young teenage kids. So it shows that precipitous fall very well and what could happen to anyone at such elevated position in film, for example. How, you know, do you explain to a younger film student you can't separate the work of someone like Woody Allen or Roman Polanski? How do you ignore their film canon and the great movies they've done because of whatever personal flawed things or crazy things they've done in their life?
Right.
It's hard to do that. You can't ignore certain filmmakers or certain artists because of the baggage they come with. Liked it a lot, and it's very, very smart. In all the little layers, it leaves breadcrumbs for you to figure out, is she guilty, is she not? It doesn't matter.
Is this really happening?
Yeah, but it's up to the audience to decide, and everyone's going to have their own opinion. So how about yourself? What would you think?
I'd have to give it a 9.5 because it was truly phenomenal. I think this is a best film contender. Although the only reason I didn't give it a 10 was because of the ending. I wish it was a little bit clearer in where it was going in a way, because you see her in the Philippines, and then has these headphones on, and then this video game's playing, and boom, it's done. Like, it was kind of like, what? I'm sure it left a lot of people like a little bit unsatisfied. Yeah,
because you have to figure out she's scoring a video game score.
Yeah. Because then you just get this view of all these cosplayers in the audience. So I didn't like how it just like kind of just ended all of a sudden. But I guess it kind of alludes to how some people, that's how their career ends. You know, it's you're on the pinnacle one day, and then boom, you crash the next. Now, when it comes to theories of the film, you see this motif when she's being haunted of the Peruvian Shipibo tribe that alludes back to their trip in Peru. So it has to be Francesca that's haunting her and kind of messing with her mind a little bit with the metronome and all that stuff. So I thought it was great.
Yeah, great movie.
We highly recommend it.
Yeah, go out there and watch it. It's on streaming now.
So Todd Field did a phenomenal job with this one. I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, he needs to make more movies.
For sure. Thanks for watching. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss more Film Snob reviews. So fun trivia of the movie. Todd Field, the director, was actually the pianist in Eyes Wide Shut. Tom Cruise's friend,
Nick Nightingale,
is the director of Tar.